audience open with a comment? Any questions for David Brown?
Well, obviously, quite a ball game. So it was really proud of our guys' effort. We weren't ourselves in the first half. Akron had a lot to do with that, but we just weren't aggressive. Now, whether or not that was the layoff or whatever, we didn't commit our first foul for 10 minutes. So that's how passive we were. After that, we started getting back to our brand of basketball and started to relax a little bit. But we had a big hole to dig out from, and guys showed a lot of courage in getting there.
Coach, you need some water?
No, I'm good. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Questions for Shane and for David?
David, you been working on that bank shot?
No, not at all. And like I said, I didn't even call it out. It was just a blessing with God, I guess. A prayer goes a long way, and he gave me one tonight.
Shane, you and Connor were pretty much keeping the team afloat until reserves when David and everybody else started to score. Can you talk about that, please?
Well, Akron's bigs are a little thicker than our reserves, so that had a little bit to do with it. But I think our guys went in there and did a decent job while we were out. Allowed us to get a little blow while we're sitting on the bench.
One of the keys in the second half late was Hayden. Can you talk about his basket, please?
Tucker was big for us in the second half. He didn't play like a freshman today, that's for sure. I'm really proud of him. His three and that little bucket there at the end, that was huge.
Shane and/or David, what was the thought process on the team when Akron gets up 18 early in the second half? Now to fight through that?
Well, my thought process was, wow.
You can talk about what we talked about, too. You know what I mean, in terms of getting back a little at a time.
Coach, I'm not gonna lie. I forgot what we were talking about. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna lie. But from my standpoint, I was just shocked. I mean, I was like, wow, they're shooting the ball well, but we weren't playing our brand of basketball, like Coach said. And I feel like, I was kind of nervous going into the game, and they were hitting some shots, and I was just like, well, we've been here before. Let's play basketball. They're knocking down shots. We knew they weren't gonna continue to hit all these threes and all these shots they were knocking down, but we just told ourselves to stay with it and just keep playing basketball. Something good will happen sooner or later.
For either David or Shane, did you guys feel any rust at all at the beginning of the game? Obviously, falling behind like that. Any part of that due to the layoff?
I'm not too sure. I think we came out all right there in the beginning. We were hitting shots. They were hitting shots. We just got a little lackadaisical there for a little bit, and that's what really hurt us, and that's where they got their lead at.
Did you sense any frustration or sense any questioning from them as the game just started getting closer and closer?
When you get down 17, there's always going to be a little bit of frustration, but that's.
I'm talking about from them.
Oh.
You guys started coming back into the game.
I would probably say, yeah. They got a little frustrated. We're just taking the ball to a hole, and we're finally drawing contact, getting fouls, and we're rebounding the ball, and they weren't getting those offensive rebounds that they were getting in the first half. So I'll say, yeah, they got a little bit frustrated because they weren't getting the open looks that they got in the first half. We went in the locker room at halftime and regrouped and came out and put a stop to a lot of the things they were doing, but we just got to stay with it and continue this to the next game.
Shane, you were talking about feeling frustrated. You guys, how do you get through that?
We've been through this a lot. We've been up and we've been down quite a bit during the season. I think that's really what helped us out tonight. We played with poise there in the second half. We knew that even though we were down 17 going into halftime, no deficit's too much for us to try and overcome. We had a great group of guys. We had incredible heart tonight. I can't stress that enough. No one quit. No one, from the guy at the end of the bench to the starters. It was quite amazing.
David,
Ryan. Go ahead, Ryan.
David or Shane, either of you guys, every time you guys almost got it down to single digits in the second half, it just seemed like they hit a bucket to get back up to the At any point did you guys wonder, are we actually going to be able to get to the single digits? And once you got there, it seemed like you guys were going.
It was a point where it was just like, wow. Like I said, it was just wow, we're getting so close, and they hit a bucket to to keep the lead to double digits. But we also I looked up at the scoreboard, and saw there was still a lot of time left. So I mean, it wasn't too much panic because we still had a lot of basketball left, and we knew that we were somewhat where we wanted to be with the under 10 media, I think it was, and we were feeling good. So we just kept riding this wave of emotion, and we just pulled it out.
How big of a role does just the change of David? How big of a role did the Western Michigan crowd play in this game? It seemed like they traveled.
I was really impressed with how well we traveled, actually. I really wasn't expecting that many people, but I'm really glad they came. It really helped us out there in the second half.
I didn't notice much. I just noticed my family in the crowd. I mean, my stepdad just yelling at me, my dad yelling at me, my uncle, and I saw my mom over there just clapping her hands. And that's the only person I was really focused on was my mom, because she wasn't yelling at me, and she was giving me some good words of advice. I could read her lips, and that's the really only person I really listened to in the stands.
Shane, given your program's history in this tournament, in this venue, your history against Akron in this tournament, is this a vindication win, a touchdown victory for you guys?
I don't think so. I think throughout the entire year maybe we have, I guess. I don't know. Being here for 5 years, I should know this, but I guess I don't. But I guess we've had those milestone wins throughout the entire year, with Ohio and Akron at home and Kent State at Kent State. So I think that really like I said before, it really helped us out, having those wins in the regular season. Really helped us out in this tournament win.
Either Shane or Dave again. As two seniors and two leaders of the team, what do you say to the rest of the team in the second half? You're down by 18 and keep everyone in the game and keep them focused. I just told the guys to stay hungry. I mean, the game's not over yet. If it was a 20-minute ball game, we'd be going home. But it's a 40-minute game, 45-minute game actually. And I just told the guys in the locker room, we need to go out there and leave all out on the court. I mean, it's a win to go home type of thing, and we're not ready to go home yet. So why not play basketball, and let's get a win and continue to play basketball.
David and Shane, we'll let you get back to the locker room. Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
Continue with
This is
questions
cool.
for Coach Hawkins.
I'm glad. Happy for you.
Coach, I saw you shaking your head when I asked Shane that question.
Well, it's such a media question, and I mean that in an endearing way. But we as fans or the media tend to have a long memory, and this is my 14th year at Western, and I can remember at the beginning of things, we were doing pretty well against certain schools, and then they've had their way with us. Now I may remember that. He doesn't. He didn't remember what I said at halftime, so he darn sure doesn't know that. Connor Davey and Tucker Heyman had no idea. Tucker Heyman didn't know where Akron was a year ago, let alone the fact he's in Seattle. So the history part of things was what I was shaking my head about. It's something certainly that all of us may be able to relate to, but to the players, they got another ball game to play, and we step across, and those are the guys we got to play against.
Coach, take us through what's going on with you for the sideline. 9-1 run, 13-4 run, 16-0 run. It seemed like through all of those things, until the last one, they make a basket and kind of, like you were saying earlier, push it back out again. But ever think, it's not going to get there?
No, you can't think like that. It's certainly, you probably feel it. That may be the best way to put it, is you may feel that. There may be a feeling of a little bit of frustration of, gosh almighty, we just got it down, and then they hit the three. I can tell the referee was blocking me, but, Betancourt drove and then threw it into the corner, and they hit a huge three, and that was one of those moments. It was like, when we had it going. Because what we had talked about at halftime was, it's a 17-point lead. Let's just get this game under 10 at under 10. There's no such thing as an 18-point basket, and so let's just take this. And that's, You know, I mean, if we worry about 1 point per minute, okay, let's just worry about that. And we didn't quite get it there. We were close. I think we were with about 10, a little over 10 to play. We had it at 13. Then they took it up again. But at the under 7, we had it in a pretty good position, and momentum was starting to go a little bit. And so I was just concentrating on let's in segments. You know, we kept talking about in the timeouts. We won that 4 minutes. Okay, we won that 3 minutes. And so that's kind of what we were talking about in there.
Hey, Steve, first of all, do you think you guys 11 hours to get here actually the other day?
Yeah, yes. We got stuck behind that accident on the turnpike, and we left Kalamazoo at 6:30 in the evening, and what normally takes us about 4:15, 4.5, took us 11 hours, and we got in at 5:30 in the morning. Yes. Yep.
Steve, you're going to the championship game for the first time, I believe in 10 years, 2004. What can you take to the players about playing in a championship game? Or can you use your ability to help them tomorrow night?
This group has been incredibly unique all year long. You heard it. I mean, that was not rehearsed. I mean, David Brown, when I said you could talk about what we talked about and he didn't remember, that may be the way these guys have approached the season. You know, they just play. You know, and I've said to the media in Kalamazoo before, and it's the truth. You know, I talked at the beginning of the year. Most of you know that I had the opportunity to work with Coach Wooden, and Coach Wooden was really big on no ups and no downs throughout the course of a season. Very important, no ups and no downs. So we talk about that at the beginning of the year, but then when you actually get into the season and there aren't any ups, I start to become concerned. Like, do these guys have a pulse? You know, but that's the way they've been. They've been just very businesslike all year long. We got drilled at Buffalo. They came back the next day. They were fine. We got drilled at Eastern earlier this year. They came back. They were fine. They all know what they're playing for, and we know the two teams that are playing next. We know them well. They know us well. So whoever it is that comes out of it, you know, we know the other team very well. I don't think there's going to be a lot that we're going to have to say. I don't think they're going to need me to say much at all, to be honest with you. Yes.
Coach, in the second half, you had 13 points off turnovers. What did you do differently defensively in the second half to cause confusion with Akron on the offensive side?
Well, they were the game plan going in did not work real well. The game plan going in was they were just you know, an okay three-point shooting team. You know, the game plan was to make them beat us over the top. You know, we wanted to make Treadwell shoot jump shots, but not at 15 feet, but a little further out, make him uncomfortable. And when he drove the ball, we wanted to have a lot of traffic around him and Forsyth, Harney, you know, and when Diggs drove the ball, we had to get traffic around him. And but then they started hitting all those threes. And then that affected our offense. Our offense was just abysmal. We scored 17 points in the first half. It was terrible. And we were affected because of poor defense, or not poor defense, because of how well they shot the ball. I thought it affected us on both ends of the floor relative to aggression. We were not aggressive on either end of the floor, and I think their shooting took a lot out of us in the first half. In the second half, we came in and we changed our ball screen coverage and said we're going to trap it a lot more. We've got to turn up the tempo. If we play passive again in the second half, if we lay back on our ball screen coverage, then we're going to be in trouble. And so we had to create some offense through our defense. So we started trapping the ball and ball screens. We also started trapping the ball when it went inside to Treadwell.
Coach, appreciate it.
Thank you.